Alright, the title of this video is Don't Travel to the Dominican Republic. Alright, I recently went to the Dominican Republic, and my time there, it wasn't too pleasant. It was positives. There were some positives. As you can see on this YouTube channel, Motivational Movements, you can see the different places I traveled to, going to the Duns, then going to the water park in the north part of the coast, et cetera, et cetera. But there were some disturbing moments that I had there, most notably being scammed by the police department, also by the people that work at the airport at Las Americas International Airport in Santo Domingo, for simply bumping into a woman. It was a scam. I was essentially extorted of funds there. And also, another thing I found disturbing is that when I was interacting with many of the people, particularly if anytime I if I even spoke to a woman or I was talking to a female, it was always a desire by these women to be paid for their time, which I wasn't going to do. And this was all around the island, from the south part in Santo Domingo all the way to Puerto Plata. And it was really a bizarre experience. And I would tell the women, like, so essentially you're a prostitute. I would ask them, you're an escort, you're a prostitute, and they would say, no, be respectful of the words you use. And I'm like, you're asking for money in exchange for spending time with you. That will make you a prostitute. I even showed one girl definitely said, okay, and she said, no, I'm not a prostitute. And then I started interacting with the people. This is the first, I've been there in the past, but I never actually was there for any substantial period of time. But when interacting with people, i.e. doing jujitsu, going out and about, I saw that there clearly was a racial caste system there, where the Dominicans, they seem very ignorant with regards to the treatment of Haitians. They justified their treatment of Haitians by saying that Haitians enslaved them in the early 1800s, but a lot of times they admit that the Haitians freed them from the Spanish or assisted in freeing them from the Spanish, and that they too committed great travesties to the Haitians, what they do to this day, most notably with Trujillo, who killed over 18,000 Haitians in the early part of last century. They promote a caste system where they pretended they're better than the Haitians, yet they, at least in the USA, my country, they were all considered black. There was no, unlike some of the other Latin countries I went to, these people all were clearly black. There's no ambiguity about it, but they had like this bizarre colorist system where if you were dark skinned like a Haitian, they clearly tried to pretend like they were better than you. The people seemed like they was constantly in the conning and running game. It was slightly different from Colombia. You had that in Colombia, but I saw more entrepreneurs, more people hustling in Colombia. In DR, I just saw people selling their body and, really just trying to run game, like back in the hood, like when I was growing up. They acted just like ghetto black people. And, not very ambitious, very arrogant. And like the Dominican, they seem to find solace in the fact, well, we can pretend that we're better than Haitians and black people. When, again, if they came to the United States of America, I mean, they would just be considered the N-word, but they're speaking Spanish. Real bizarre, real bizarre people. Country was unkempt. It was dirty. It's similar to, what I said in Colombia in my previous video about Colombia. The people seem to have assumptions about men coming there, yet they deal with issues with the government doing things to them. And it's like, okay, you worrying about men coming to your country, but you're not worrying about the government. You see what's going on in Colombia now with the government. Just like I spoke on when I went to Colombia several months ago. And any critical thinker can watch the circumstances of this country and be like, I think the people are focused on the wrong thing. And consequently, when you focus on the wrong thing, when you got a organization that's watching how you move and what you value, they're going to go for what they feel they can take advantage of. I don't know, man. It was real. It was really not a country I would recommend. Colombia, they've had some really bad stuff that happened to them, and it has a little bit more of an African history, particularly in the north part of the country with Cartagena, and then with the dancing and salsa. Like I said, the people seem like they were a bit more of hustlers. With DR, I would never recommend no one go there, ever, ever. Obviously, the aforementioned circumstance I dealt with the airport security and so forth, and people that I met, at the airport with the woman. It was a woman. She stated that she was injured. Come to find out, she wasn't. The next day, I saw her laughing and giggling. She had no injuries, and they ran a scam where they try to run you around to different locations to get money out of you, out of your bank. Thanks to the Most High, they weren't able to get what they wanted, but these people are tricksters. Then they have a history of self hate. They deny being black. When I engaged with people, they were all in denial about being black people. It was a creepy experience. They all were begging for money. Even in Colombia, while they were hustling, I can't recall. I can't recall nobody begging me for money like Dominicans did. I mean, these people on like they're probably like there's probably a thought process about Dominicans amongst Latinos. And I don't know what brain function they're working with or like what they think. Running around pretending they're better than black people and they are black, but they're crazy. I think there's some issues. I don't want to generalize, but I kind of am because I've never seen a place like this. I never seen a place where I met in even like just in interaction with people, and particularly the women, where so many of them were into prostitution. Now, obviously, when you go into developing countries, people gotta live, they gotta eat, so sometimes they do things, they in that lifestyle to survive. But when I was watching these people, it was like it was no shame. Any other place I've been to, you didn't really have people come at you like that. Like it wasn't like something to be like proud about. But when I watched these people, they were proud about it. The only Latin country I've been to was like this. I've been in Brazil, Colombia. Um, I'm in a lot of places, but these are the only people that were proud about engaging in that lifestyle. And I would talk to the guys about it, like, well, you don't want to you don't pay for a woman. I'm like, no, no. Um, yeah. So it was it was lousy. It was lousy. It helped me look into. It was another country I actually wanted to travel to, and it made me do a little bit more critical thinking with that, especially with the times going on with COVID and everything, people out of work and so forth. But I went to the country, and those are some of the things I observed. I went to Santo Domingo, which is the country's capital, and you can see some of the stuff I did when I was there. I went to the north part of the island, Puerto Plata, I'd never been, and saw the people that was there. Um, you know, it was it wasn't it was just pretty pathetic and depressing all at the same time. It was, um, you know, it just had a vibration of very con artistry kind of people. Um, you know, it made me think, and I'm not in politics too much, but I think about Donald Trump and some of the things he said in his previous presidency about people coming from countries and they trying to run game on people, and like their country's screwed up, and I'm like I look at these people and I'm like how arrogant they are, and how racist they are, but their country's in shambles, and then they want to rush to come to the United States of America, a country that black men and black women build, particularly black men, and then run around holding their nose up at people, and their country look like it is, and then they glorify. They brainwash their women into thinking that being a whore is cool. I wrote about this on my blog, melanated.magic.com. And it's I look at the celebrity, what's her name, Cardi B, with the woman that bragged about raping black men with transvestites. And for some reason, some black people want to big this woman up. I don't get it. And then you have points, sounding bites from people like Candace Owens, who I don't definitely don't agree with everything she says. But with regards to Cardi B, I mean that 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 shouldn't be cool. That's corny. That's corny. That and it's bizarre. And I don't you don't knock nobody for what their job is. People have circumstances that you could never imagine. I'm not, but it's that's not the knock. The knock is you screwing people over. The knock is that you're pretending you're better than people. That you steal people culture. I mean, like again, similar to Colombia, these people hold ID. I.e. the music, the clothing, and styles was all black influence, all African influence. They have a genre called dembo, which is clearly African. Their bachata music is harkens back to ancient African rhythms and beats. I mean, you just hear it with the drums and so forth. It's like, yet these people hate being black and hate black people, particularly Haitians. But they like black money. Um, and they have a lot of problems, with the poor and the rich, and the white and the black. And I would tell any black person, and this is different in Colombia slightly. I would tell any black person to boycott the Dominican Republic. Don't ever go to that country. Don't give them no money. And not just black people, anybody, white person, Asian person, Latino person, don't entertain that country. Those people, there's something wrong there, and it all starts with the mind. It don't have nothing to do with them. I don't even think it had nothing to do with them being Dominican. It's their culture, and what they promote is being A-OK. Again, nobody's perfect. It's not about what people got to do to survive. It's just how they treat people and how they go about coming at people in a very disrespectful manner, very arrogant manner. I've never seen no crap like that before. Bunch of poor, racist, mestizo black people pretending they're better than the people. Now, I've seen that before in the United States. I mean, you see black people do that to each other. Black people, they got 3 college degrees and, they serve in the military and they think that they're superior over other people, which is delusional. I mean, you saw what happened with the black guy that was the officer. I mean, so, or like you have Mexicans treating other Mexicans poorly. But like in places like Texas. But I mean, if you studied the history of Mexicans in Texas with the lynchings, being killed for nothing, walking down the street, the plight of Mexicans, their land being stolen, I don't understand why they would think they're better than people. And then lastly, sticking to the topic, with Dominicans, they're pretending they're better than other people, but when they go to Spain, they're not considered Spanish. They consider something else and start with the N word, start with the N letter rather. You know, they come to America and they want to run back to the DR from Washington Heights in New York or the Bronx because they find out that it's not all peaches and cream, that money doesn't grow on trees here, that we work to get what we want, and that, it's not easy, that you can't get away with certain behavior in the States that you could over there. Yeah. Also, I want to point out, in addition to boycotting that country, there's several young black men, I believe from Delray, Florida, who are been held there, if I'm not mistaken, for over a year over some potentially bogus traffic stop where someone said they had drugs in their car when they was in Santo Domingo, a DR area, DR in the Dominican Republic. They have not. It's been reported that the drugs were in the car when they rented the car, but they are still being held in the Dominican Republic. I would tell people to protest that to the U.S. Embassy, and then in their home, wherever they live, and then also the U.S. Embassy in Santo Domingo. These people have a parasitic mindset. Don't support that country. Boycott the Dominican Republic. They need to learn how to treat other human beings like the Haitians properly. and allocate some of that money that they're using to potentially build a wall to fix their school systems, and so they can learn more about their history and stop worshiping people that killed off majority of the people on the island. I mean, they have a statue of Christopher Columbus, man, like, and they're honoring him. And everybody, I've talked to plenty of white people. Matter of fact, these are people that told me this, and when I was going to school for history, they told me this guy murdered people. He murdered the Taino people off. He enslaved these people ancestors. He raped them. His crew was a part of raping and pillaging and plundering all over the island, and they worshipped him. These people really, really need to go back to school. You know, reading's fundamental. And then also, they need to stop worrying about screwing black people over, like the Haitians, and come and collaborate with each other. Because you're all considered black in the system of white supremacy. And you on this big island Hispaniola, you should be working with each other. You shouldn't be making up storylines in your head to justify hating each other. I mean, straight up. Straight up. Like, you know, you directing your hate at the wrong people. And, you know, so let's like, you know, learn more about how to treat people and how to be a decent human being and not run game on people to get quick bucks, and build yourself up. So now you got a business or a culture that is about producing, so you don't have to con people. And you don't have to run to the United States of America because your country is screwed up, and you got to run to the country that black people built, who you simultaneously hate. So, and the guy some of you people worship, Donald Trump, he said that. So, yeah, anybody watching the video, I would entertain DR. I know they got some good deals on Punta Cana. Don't go. Don't go. There's other Caribbean islands you can go to. Go to Jamaica. You know, like, you know, in Jamaica has an issue too, but it just that's on a different level. That's on a completely different level. I've never seen nothing like that. I didn't see nothing like that in Jamaica. I was in the grill, the 7 Mile Beach. I saw some crazy stuff there. I talked about it, but DR takes the cake out of just about any country I've ever been to. I don't get that. You know, it's weird. And you compare it to other countries, you know, Mexico, those are hardworking people in Mexico, you know, based off their rep. So, yeah. So, boycott the Dominican Republic. Those are some of the reasons why the treatment of Haitians, they're scammers. They'll try to get money out of you off of anything. Many of the women are in the game of prostitution thanks to their idol Cardi B, the black Latino who brags about raping black men with transvestites. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, and then she talks about, you know, racism, but, you know, against black people, but she called black people cockroaches, dark skinned black women cockroaches. Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, so yeah, boycott that country. And, you know, there's other options out there. There's other options where you're dealing with people with a culture that's a little bit more inviting and tolerant and open-minded, with a vast history. Plenty of countries out there. You know, I talked about it on this page, motivational movements. Many of them. I like Jamaica personally in many ways. I thought there was some issues there, but I did like Jamaica. Costa Rica, Panama, robust culture, thanks to the ingenuity that was promoted by the United States, but also by the hardworking people from Jamaica, among other nationalities that helped build the Panama Canal. It has a robust culture of different business and so forth. It's considered Dubai of Latin America. It has premier hospitals there. That's a real Latin American country you can go to and really get some culture. You know, Brazil, even though that has some issues of racism, unfortunately, it does have a lot of history with the Africans that came there and created, it was able to bring about a lot of different things to the culture. Especially, particularly, let's say, even the world of sports, you know, the soccer players, the great Pele, the the popular African martial art, capoeira. The martial art I partake in is amazing. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu all came out of Brazil, obviously, right? Um, let's see what else. And the people in Brazil were really, they seemed very prideful of who they was too. Um, let's see what else. I mean, yeah, man, Mexico. I talked about it in previous video last summer. Very prideful of who they are, very hard working. They want to get out there and work. I didn't have a whole bunch. I didn't meet a bunch of people like, I'm just walking down the street and they, like, ask me, how, like, do you want to buy me or something like that? Like that energy was in DR. I never seen that anywhere else. So definitely, it's not a place, and they treat the people poor. You may not see this if you vacation in Punta Cana, but just the way the streets were dirty, littered and trash and filth, and it just had a vibration that just wasn't cool, man. It wasn't cool. Just walking around in the Malecon and Puerto Plata, just feeling the energy there. I mean, everybody wasn't bad, you know what I'm saying, but it was not not a kind of experience that I can honestly say and promote to go to. And that's looking for the silver lining in that. No, 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 at all. As you've seen in previous videos that I have on this blog, you'll see, I've been to they have a Duns there, which is pretty unique, but it's small. It's not too much going on. I mean, you could wait till you take your trip to Africa and go to the deserts there. Water just as at a 27 waterfall park that I went to. So it was pretty interesting. You see that on this blog as well. Tres Ojos. It was okay, but the cenotes in Mexico are better, straight up. You can actually go into cenotes in Mexico. In Tres Ojos, you can't go in the lakes there. So, yeah. Yeah, man. Completely disappointed. And, I give two thumbs down to the Dominican Republic. I don't think I've ever done this with a country. And I say boycott that country for their poor treatment of Haitians, their denial about their black ancestry, and subsequently their whole culture is black with the music, the dance music they dance to. Bachata comes from Africa. The influence is of Africa. Obviously, there's Spanish influence, but if we read about Spanish history is really foundationally founded based off the Moorish people. Look them up. Look at what Moor means. It's black. So yeah, there you go. Boycott the Dominican Republic. Till next time.